How would this scenario play out in your state? Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC, P.A.N. Firearms for your NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. But let's talk about this. Florida, in what appears to be a moment of road rage, a person in a truck cut off a person who was riding a motorcycle. The person in the truck then presented a knife, or was brandishing a knife, and after some very vocal back and forth, the person with the knife attempted to slash the motorcyclist, who then pulled out a firearm and used it to keep the guy at bay. Now, I got the video on that. We should watch this little news clip just to give you an idea of what happened.
He pulled a gun after you swiped the knife at him!
New at 4:30, a suspected case of road rage caught on camera. A Palm Coast man is now facing charges accused of swiping a knife at a motorcyclist. Investigators say the two men stopped after the motorcyclist said the driver cut him off.
It happened yesterday afternoon at the intersection of Pine Lakes Parkway and Whirlaway Drive in Flagler County.
News 6's Lauren Cervantes joins us there live with the latest on this case. Lauren.
The chief says this could have ended much differently, possibly with the suspect being shot. And deputies are crediting the victim's wife with having the key evidence all recorded on her cell phone.
You got a knife, he doesn't have nothing! You got a knife! You're a dumb. Turn right on red when green lights!
Right on red.
The confrontation all caught on cell phone yesterday near Pine Lakes Parkway and Whirlaway Drive. On the right, this man in a white t-shirt and jeans, deputies say is Rafael Rivera. According to investigators, Rivera cut off a motorcyclist with his truck, and both eventually came to a stop. They squared off on the road.
Bro, I'm telling you.
The video shows Rivera holding a knife, and if you look close enough, deputies say the motorcyclist is clenching brass knuckles in his right hand. Then this.
Oh, no, babe, I got it on film.
God, put the thing down right now, mother. Down. Tom, go ahead.
You just tried to stab, I got it on film.
Seconds later, the motorcyclist pulls out a gun.
He pulled a gun after you swiped the knife at him.
If you watch the video, you'll see this. The suspect actually holds a knife. It's very visible. The victim acknowledges it. There's an exchange verbally about it. Why do you have that? You got out of it with that. And then at some point, the suspect actually steps towards the victim and makes a slashing movement with the knife, putting this victim in fear for their safety.
I just had a guy pull a gun on me.
Moments later, the video shows Rivera calling 911. Now, Rivera is being charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. For now, in Flagler County, I'm Lauren Cervantes getting results. News 6.
Now you saw that, you heard that. Now, once again, just for context, I always give you context, this is from Blaze News. Titled, Florida Sheriff Applauds Motorcyclist for Pulling a Gun on a Knife-Wielding Driver to End a Road Rage Incident. This is the important part as far as I can say. The cyclist's wife captured the incident on video. That is key. But a sheriff in Florida applauded a motorcyclist for ending a road rage incident by pulling a gun on a knife-wielding driver. The alarming confrontation was caught on video by the motorcyclist's wife. The video shows a man with a knife threatening the motorcyclist before trying to slash him once. At that point, the motorcyclist reached into his vest, pulled a pistol out, and pointed it at the driver. The driver called the police to report the man for pulling the gun on him, but police found that he had a concealed carry permit for the pistol. The victim told police that he had been cut off by the driver in a silver Toyota Tacoma. Quote, traffic disagreements should never result in violence in our streets. In this particular incident, the video captured by the victim's wife clearly shows that her husband's life was threatened. I applaud the way the motorcyclist handled the situation, said Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley in a statement. After his life was clearly threatened, he lawfully defended himself and then de-escalated the situation at his Staley. The offender is lucky he was not shot. Staley said after viewing the video of the incident that they arrested the knife-wielding suspect, who was identified as 50-year-old Rafael Vincent Rivera. Rivera was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and booked him in at the Sheriff Perry Hall inmate detention facility. Staley said Rivera had previous arrests 4 times since 2015 on felony and misdemeanor charges related to theft and trespassing. He also cautioned the public against taking traffic enforcement into their own hands. Call the sheriff's office instead, he added. Now, you heard all that. Here's the key things. His wife had the entire incident on video, which is key, because when the person with the knife called the police, it would become a he said situation with nobody to back and prove, and he did have a firearm. Now, Florida, as you know, is completely different from not so much different, but I'm talking from the perspective of Connecticut, so forgive me if I go a little off the rails there. Florida has a stand your ground law. Under Florida law, the motorcyclist could have shot the person with the knife. He did aggressively slash at him. He had every right to shoot him. But I was wondering how the scenario plays out in other states. Now, of course, once again, I am in Connecticut. I am speaking from the Connecticut perspective. So this is from the CGA.gov. This is the OLR research report. It's a summary. And it's talking about Castle Doctrine and stand your ground. I'm not reading all this, but I just give you a general idea of what we deal with here in Connecticut. I know it's different elsewhere. I'd love to hear how things play out in different states. But in this case, the Castle Doctrine and stand your ground laws are affirmative defenses for individuals charged with criminal homicide. The Castle Doctrine is a common law doctrine stating that an individual has no duty to retreat when in his or her home or castle, and may use reasonable force, including deadly force, to defend his or her property, person, or another. Outside of the castle, however, an individual has a duty to retreat. That's key. In the scenario that you saw in Florida, the motorcyclist in Connecticut, he has room. If he has room to retreat, he'll be, by law, he has to retreat. Okay? And then I don't really have to go any further because I really wanted to touch that one part where in Florida they have stand your ground, where in Connecticut we have a duty to retreat under the same circumstances. That's why I kind of asked, how would this play out? Because here in Connecticut, without that videotape, there's a good chance that both people would have been arrested, the motorcyclist and the person wielding the knife, and that is all dependent on the police officer who shows up to the scene. Okay. Now, use of self-defense. Once again, this is CGA.gov. Okay. From the perspective of Connecticut, a person may use physical force, self-defense, to protect himself or a third person, his home or office, or his property, to make an arrest or prevent an escape, or to perform certain duties. For example, a corrections officer may use force to maintain order and discipline, a teacher to protect a minor, and a parent to discipline a child. A person cannot use physical force to resist arrest by a reasonably identified police officer, whether the arrest is legal or not. But I'm going to come down to physical force in defense of person. I'm not sure if I can put this up on the screen behind me because it's pretty big. I'll try, but if not, it's going to be in the links below, and you can read this. And it's a physical force in defense of person. A person is justified in using reasonable physical force on another person to defend himself or a third person from what he reasonably believes to be the eminent use of physical force. The defender may use the degree of force he reasonably believes is necessary to defend himself or a third person. But deadly physical force cannot be used unless the actor reasonably believes that the attacker is using or about to use deadly physical force or inflicting or about to inflict great bodily harm. Additionally, a person is not justified in using deadly physical force if he knows he can avoid doing so with complete safety by, and this comes back to the retreat aspect, retreating except from his home or office in cases where he was not the initial aggressor, or except in cases where he is assisting a peace officer at the officer's directions. 2. surrendering possession or property the aggressor claims to own, or obeying a demand that he not take action he is not otherwise required to take. This is an important part here. I'm just going down a little bit more. This is interesting. Lastly, a person is not justified in using physical force when, one, with intent, to cause physical injury or death to another person, he provokes the person to use physical force. You can't taunt somebody who then aggressively comes at you and you kill them. You can't taunt someone into using physical force. Use of such force was the product of combat by agreement not specifically authorized by law, or he is the initial aggressor unless he withdraws from the encounter, effectively communicates this intent to the other person, and the other person continues to or threatens to use physical force. Okay, it's pretty clear. I mean, it's English. It's very straightforward. So, as I said, the situation in Florida, even under Florida law, the motorcyclist was well within his rights. He could have, under Florida law, he could have just simply shot the guy. The guy slashed at him with a knife. That's intent. You stand your ground, he's pretty much done. In other states, unfortunately, in the foreign country of Connecticut, we have to be very careful in the application of and use of deadly force, including brandishing a firearm. So I thought it was very interesting, and I saw this on my feed, and I just decided that, there's a good topic to talk about. And I'd like to hear how things play out in other states. If you're from whatever state you're from, I'd love to hear how that scenario in Florida would play out in your states. You can leave that in the comments below. But let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the section below. As always, any calls for violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get notified the next time a video goes live. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.